Hello and happy Halloween. Today I wanted to talk to you about magical thinking. Yes, there is such a thing as that. I learned that in recovery from my drinking problem, alcoholism, that people do have magical thinking. And a lot of times I believe I did have that. And today I am feeling a little witchy today. As you can see, I've got my black cat shirt on. I got my black cat earrings. No, I don't have a witch's hat. I wish I did. Maybe next year. I've got my witch's brew. So please, come and join me. Have a brew of whatever choice you'd like, and come join me for this special Halloween edition of Estrangement. Just a parent, that's me, dealing with estrangement. And unfortunately, you are too. So come and join me, and let's have a little gathering, okay? Okay. Alrighty. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. I know I say that sometimes. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't. However, I know what has happened. And I do think a lot of times you can judge the future by the past. And magical thinking, I didn't realize until this past texting back and forth with my son that I truly had magical thinking. I didn't mean to have it, you know. It was being hopeful. It was being... But when does hope become magical thinking? When you hope beyond hope, right? That things are going to go back the way they were. And, you know, if I got a halfway civil text from him, and we're going back, I don't even think I'm going back that long, maybe 2 years, maybe even up to a year. I thought, if I just text him, you know, I just felt like I needed to. So, okay, I would text him when I had the urge to, and it did make me feel better. But when I didn't hear from him back, you know, there was a letdown there. Why I thought I was going to get a text back when he had ignored me many times in a text, zero communication. Why would I think I would get a response? I don't know. A few years back, you know, if I did get a text back and it was somewhat civil, I'd be like, oh, this is wonderful. Oh, poor me, you know. I thought things were going to go back to normal and we'll have that great mother-son relationship again, you know, and everything's going to be the way it was. And, you know, I would even start in my head moving forward to that, okay, now I'm going to, we'll make plans to see each other, especially when I was in Massachusetts. I absolutely did that because I lived like 30 minutes away from him. So why wouldn't I, right? And the first time that I lived in Florida, you know, I would think about, I'm going to get invited. Now that's a whole nother story that I could maybe talk about. I first lived in Port Charlotte, Florida. This is going back to 2018, 2019. And I lived there for 2 years before I moved back up north again to be near him and his family. I could tell you he did invite me down. He did invite, up, I should say. He invited me up to visit them. And I was ecstatic. And that was, boy, that was an education. That was an education. At least I got to see my 2 granddaughters at the time. If you want to know about that visit and what transpired after the visit, you know, I can definitely go into that. That's a whole nother couple of videos anyways. That was something. But I did it, and I thought, here I am. I'm a real grandmother now, right? I'm living in Florida. My family, my son, my grandchildren, his significant other, they're living up north, and I'm just going to be like a jet setter, right? I was willing. I was more than willing and able to do that. I never got invited again. But again, I was only down here for 2 years, and yeah. And then I moved back up north, and that was, I think I have touched on that. It was kind of a disaster. But I did live in a very cute little town, and I loved my little apartment, and and I made the best of it. And I do believe that I have that ability. At least now I have grown, maybe a thicker hide, that I make my apartment my own wherever I live. I've lived a lot of places, and I make it my own, and I make the best out of a bad situation or any situation. And that is something I think we all need to do. And we all have the capability of doing it if we choose. So, more about magical thinking. When I got that random text, and you all know about that with, can you make a blanket? Do you still crochet? Blah, blah, blah. Initially, I was very, very happy. But over time, the texting didn't go as friendly as I wanted it to go, and we started butting heads again, and a lot of you do know that. If you are new to my channel, this is me, a parent, just a parent, dealing with estrangement from my only child, my adult son. If you are in a similar situation with one of your children or more than one of your children, or like me, and you only have one child. But no matter what, I know it's extremely painful. I don't care if you have a dozen children and you live in a shoe, it's painful. And I know that. And nothing can take the place of that one child or multiple children. So, stick around for a while, because we do meet at least once a week. And we talk about our situation, and we share stories, and I hope I'm helping people. But yes, I'm like a little kid at heart. I love Halloween. I do. And like I said, I'm feeling witchy today. So yes. So let's all stop, take a little break, and have a sip of brew. Very good. Very, very good. Very, very good. It is a lovely day here in Florida. I hope you're having a lovely fall day today, and that if you do have little ones coming to your house, that the weather's decent for them. And maybe if you're lucky enough to have grandkids, you're going to see them. Even if it's only on Facebook, you're going to see them dressed up. I don't have that. And again, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes if you only see them on Facebook, that can be more painful than not seeing them. And that is where my magical thinking really recently, I realized that what I was hoping for was magical thinking. I'm not going to have the relationship that I had before. Something has shifted in me. And maybe it's just the course of time. When they say time heals all wounds, I truly believe that is true. And it's not that I'm, great with this estrangement and I'm good, I'm going to move on, and I'm never going to give it another thought. No, obviously not. But something has shifted in me. And I do think it's a positive shift, in that I realize that no matter what happens, things will be different. They can be good again, but it'll be good in a different way. Not in the way it was prior to all this negativity, okay, with him calling me names and constantly and I'm not exaggerating. If I said the sky was blue, he'd say, well, it's not really blue. I see it's a little yellow, it's a little white out there. Not really blue. Because that's how he was during the time when he was pulling away. This was something that we never had when I was a single parent, raising him. I'm not saying we didn't have our issues, we sure did, but we were so close, and I felt like I understood him, and I know, like, when they become teenagers, they're hard to understand, and I realize that as well. And there's a pulling away. There has to be. You don't want a teenager tied to your apron strings, whether they're a girl or a boy, but can we say maybe a little worse for a boy to be tied to his mother's apron strings? He was very independent. I was very proud of that fact. And I thought, boy, I must be doing something right. He is so independent. And I got a little cocky with my parenting skills, you might say. Well, I'm not cocky anymore. And I certainly don't, especially having one child, I certainly am not any kind of expert on parenting at all. And I do realize and acknowledge that I must have made some big mistakes, But maybe not. Maybe it's just his personality and his ways that have caused this. Maybe it was his significant other, which she never liked me, ever. People like me. I'm sorry. Most people like me. And like I said, I wanted to gain a daughter, but instead I lost a son. And that was not in the cards for me at all. But this is what has happened. But I do realize that something has shifted in me, and I do think I see the world and my situation with my son much healthier. And I guess I have to thank him for answering my text and kind of blowing up my reality in a bit, because he really did over the past few months. So I guess it's a blessing. So how are you? Are you doing magical thinking? It's a hard thing to realize. And it feels very comfortable, I think, to do a magical thinking, that one day things will be like they were. And maybe it is all about the timing. If enough time goes by, things do change. It's just the way life is. It's the way the world works. It's the way the universe works. And people change with time, and the times change, and everything changes, right? And even the little changes can make big impacts on our feelings and our decisions and our view of the world. So that is what I have to say for today. No crystal ball, but I would love to have one in front of me today, because like I said, I am feeling very witchy. So let me know how your Halloween is going. Let me know if you have any magical thinking. And let me know if you somehow feel stronger or different over time with estrangement. That is my wish for all of us, is to do better with time. Not to do worse and not to be stuck in a place, which I think I did touch on in my last video. So this video is going to get out a little late today, and I'm sorry for that. But it'll get out nevertheless. Even though I did have a video this week, I want to keep on doing them on Fridays. I think it's just a good day for me, and hopefully it's a good day for you. So please leave me a comment. Hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the hype button, subscribe, do it all. It's all free, and it helps my channel grow, which for whatever reason isn't growing very big. But I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe there's less people with estrangement going on. Maybe some people have reached out and they're not estranged anymore, and I'm very, very happy if that's the case. But the people that remain, I love you all. Please do something nice for yourself this weekend. It's October 31st, and it's Halloween. And I believe that there are more good and loving spirits than there are bad. We don't want the bad. We don't want the bad. We want the good and loving spirits in the universe to come down and bless us. So God bless you all, and I will see you in my next one. Alrighty. Happy Halloween.